This guide has been inspected and improved by Luminous.
Hey guys, this is SunsFan and welcome to the official Dota Cinema Guide to Faceless Void. If you aren't familiar with this hero, you may want to watch the introduction we did for him at the corresponding link. Faceless Void is an agility hero that is considered to be one of the hardest carries in the game. He's also one of the few carries who's able to contribute a big-time AoE ultimate to teamfights. Skill build. There are actually quite a few ways to skill Void. Despite this, getting a level of Time Walk right off the bat is consistent throughout all of them. The rest is dependent on what your lanes are. First, we'll talk about the defensive build. If you're going to be harassed a lot in lane, then maxing Backtrack by 7 is pretty typical. Getting one level of Time Walk at level 4 would usually be the right choice as well. Chronosphere is to always be skilled at your standard levels, no matter what build you're following. But the real question is, what do you max second? Pros are kind of split down the middle on this one, so we'll chalk this up to player preference. Generally, a single level of Time Walk is enough to at least go through a ledge in order to TP out, so we'll say finish maxing Time Lock first. For the farming or aggressive build, you'll basically max Time Lock first. If you aren't worried about getting killed early, then the levels of Time Lock will greatly increase your farming capabilities. Leveling Time Lock second is needed because with a better initiation you can deal more damage thanks to your Time Lock. So really the farming build kind of coincides with the aggressive lane build. In this case, of course, Backtrack will be maxed out last. Item build. Make sure to start out with some sort of health regeneration item, along with your choice of either a Quelling Blade or Stout Shield. You can turn the Stout Shield into a Poor Man's Shield, which can be easily assembled at the side shop. A Quelling Blade is also an excellent item throughout the game, so at least pick it up at some stage, if not the beginning. Boots for Void are Power Treads. No explanation needed. Early game, aside from the possible Poor Man's Shield, pick up your Ring of Health at your earliest convenience. What you'll want to turn this into as soon as possible is of course a Battle Fury. Remember that once you have your Battle Fury, you must have a Quelling Blade since your farm will increase quite a bit. After purchasing a Battle Fury, pros typically go for a Mask of Madness, which will max your DPS output for pretty cheap. Obviously the drawback is that you'll take more damage while it's activated, so just gauge your current survivability and make a decision as to whether it's a prudent choice or not. Into the mid and early late game stages, the best item you can pick up is a Manta, which as we always say is a really nice combination of both survivability and DPS. And remember that your illusions will also proc Time Lock. After that, pros generally go for BKB, as by this time of the game, you'll be target number 1 for the enemy. For late game icing on the cake items, look for a Butterfly or MKB. Players typically gravitate towards a Butterfly, but an MKB should take priority if the opposing team's carry has evasion himself. Gameplay. In the laning stages, it really comes down to what skill build you're going for. As mentioned previously, if you're getting free farm or just want to be aggressive in lane, then go for the aggressive build. But if you have good lane control thanks to your potential tri-lane, then going for the farming build will be necessary, as Void is extremely item dependent. If you're going to be aggressive, you need to communicate with your team as to who actually will initiate. You also need to layer your slows and possible stuns correctly so you can snag yourself an early kill. But if the support ends up getting the kill during the early game, it's not a big deal. In fact, it would probably be preferable. As long as you're getting the experience, you should be a happy little carry. If you want the defensive build, then have solace in knowing that your Backtrack is one of the best survivability skills in the game. This, in combination with just a level 1 Time Walk, and of course your ultimate to boot, will make killing you extremely difficult. And as you might have guessed, farming is extremely important for Void. So if possible, have your support stack the jungle for you at any opportunity. Because once you actually pick up your Battle Fury, killing these stacks will create huge amounts of income for you. But as far as your ultimate is concerned, using it during the early stages of the game to get a solo kill, or just for an escape attempt, is perfectly justified. Chances are teamfights aren't going to occur at a very rapid pace at this point of the game. Plus, even if they do, you won't be able to do much damage anyway. But as you know, into the mid to late stages of the game, your ultimate will be critical. So make sure it's up for those all-important teamfights. Speaking of teamfights, you'll most likely be the initiator. Of course, this is dependent on your team makeup. Typically though, you'll want to time walk in and set up a chronosphere on as many enemy heroes as possible. The very important thing here that is actually extremely crucial is to not get any of your teammates stuck in the chronosphere. Unless of course you're doing it to save them in some fashion. Either way, once your chronosphere is set up, Just pop your Mask of Madness and start wailing on whatever target you feel needs to be taken out first. Of course, if you have a Manta style, use that in order to deal that much more damage to whatever target you choose. Plus, this will give you a good opportunity to continue to stun lock them even after the Chronosphere wears off. Also remember that your Chronosphere will disable towers as well, so if you're fighting near one, then it might be a good idea to take it out of the equation as well. Friends and foes. Good combinations with Void would be those that can deal a lot of AoE damage inside his Chronosphere. A few examples of this would include Lich and his Chain Frost, Jakiro and his Macropyre, and of course Ancient Apparition with his Ice Blast. Heroes that Void doesn't particularly like to go against would consist of those that can disable him for long periods of time, therefore preventing him from time walking away to safety. Examples of this would include Shadow Shaman with his Shackle and Hex, and of course Bane with basically every one of his spells. You could also include a Ghost Scepter and Heaven's Halberd as counters towards Void, since they will prevent him from doing what he does best, which is auto attack. Thanks for watching, guys, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Also, a big thanks to Flawless and Luminous who helped create this guide. You can check them out at their YouTube channels, which are linked in the video description. Also, be sure to check out our website at dotacinema.com. My name is SunsFan, and we love you guys.